going to break down, react, and review Ariana Grande's vocals in Stuck With You. So, let's sing something. La la la! Starting from the top. It's got like that old 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No one to stick around. So I noticed right off the bat, just listening to it, it reminds me of her older album when she kind of brought like the old school piano, the waltz feel to it. You can actually see people waltzing. It's almost like she's going back to her roots a little bit with this song, which I am totally cool with. Also, I want to point out, one of the main things with Ariana and her style of voice is the air. She does a lot of air, excess air that comes out. So it's almost like you can compare it to a whisper, and we're going to listen to it right now, but you'll hear it's like an ashy whisper as she starts to sing. One strike and you're out, baby. Don't care if I sound crazy, but you never let me down. No, no, that's why when the sun's up. So that's another good point right there. Vocally, with what she's doing, when she hits her low, she has a habit of placing it down here. One da 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 da. She places it really deep in her chest. And since her microphone's super close to her mouth, it gives it the volume kind of that you want from it and that we're hearing in the recording. But if she were to do it live, she would have to place it more forward so we could get more volume. But stylistically, she really likes her lows to sit deep in her chest. And a lot of the reason why singers do this is so that way you'll find that when she starts to sing the high notes, she's going to place them higher up in her nose, and it'll make this huge dramatic difference between her low notes and her high notes. And that gives us, as the listeners, this really cool change. And so when she hits those high notes, you're like, whoa, those are crazy high, because the lows felt so low, rather than keeping them in a more forward tone. Da 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 da. She does da 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 da. She like places them back here, but she has again the microphone to amplify that sound. Still laying in your bed singing. Ooh, 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 ooh. So that's another thing. With her speaking voice, I could stay here. That's got a lot of vocal fry. So vocal fry is when the vocal cords come together and they rub really hard. And, well, not necessarily really hard, but they rub together, which creates this type of sound. It's like I need my morning coffee kind of sound. And so she's got that as she does her speaking. And you'll find with her, she's going to start off with more air. She'll have more of an open space of a chesty sound and a little bit more of that fry within it. Then as this song builds, she's going to do the same exact notes as she did in the beginning, but then she's going to start to place them higher up. And again, it's because we're creating this dynamic difference. So we're still really relatively early in the song. You're going to hear a lot of air and a lot of chesty lows. And then on the speaking part, we'll have that vocal fry. But as we continue, I'll start pointing out where she's going to ping it and bring it more forward within her voice. So lock the door and throw out the key. Can't fight this no more. So right there was the example. So lock the door and lock the door and throw out the key, throw out the key. So she's adding the air. She's placing it, but she's adding this excess air. Instead of lock the door and throw out the key, which she'll do later. Later on, she's going to ping it forward. But for now, she's going to add that ha. And you can easily do that by thinking of it whispered and doing a louder whisper. So like, throw out the key, throw out the key, adding the notes onto it to give it a softer feel to it. And I'd also like to point out that down below in the link in the description is a cheat sheet that I made teaching you how to sing like Ariana Grande. I'll also have a link at the end of this video for a video that I made for it in case you're like, what is she talking about? How do I do this? There's a cheat sheet below for you, totally free and downloadable. There's that chest ear. So I'm gonna back up to what we just heard. Stuck with you, placing it forward. We're gonna go back to when she first sang Stuck With You, and I want you to hear the difference of the way that she approaches it. So let's go back. I think it was right about here. There's nothing I can do. I'm stuck with you, stuck with you, stuck with you. So go ahead and drive me insane, baby, run your mouth. I still wouldn't change being stuck with you, stuck with you, stuck with you. So you can hear as we're progressing in this song, she's developing more and more of what a lot of people would consider a mixed belt. She's placing it higher up and she's pulling out some of the air and going more into this vocal fry sound and more of a ping, which gives the sound strength and more power, and it's not quite as soft. But that's where the dynamics came in. That's where she starts off with the lower chest, really deep, really soft with lots of air, and then progressively changing and placing where she's putting that sound rather than keeping it back down in the chest. I'm stuck with you, stuck with you, stuck with you, baby. There's nowhere we need to be. No, no, no. I'ma get to know you better. So I'm actually, and you guys may be very disappointed, but I'm going to skip past Justin Bieber on this because I'm really focusing on Ariana Grande's vocals as well as what will go along with the free cheat sheet that I have in the link down below as well in a video at the end of this. So let's skip past where Justin comes in. Yeah, so right there, and there's nothing I, instead of, and there's nothing I, which is what she was doing in the beginning. So now we're going to get into her belt. Now we're going to get into her power. I mean, realistically, Ariana Grande lives in the high notes. She loves the high notes. I think she's even done videos before where there were low notes in it, and she's like, ooh, that's low. And she's just not as comfortable in her low notes as she is in her high notes, but that's really what she's known for, are those high notes, the mixed, thin, big belt voice there. I'm stuck with you, stuck with you, stuck with you. Go ahead and drive me insane, baby, run your mouth. I still wouldn't change all this loving you, hating you, wanting you. I'm stuck with you, stuck with you. Stuck with you. Back into the air. So that's a great point right there. Right there. Yeah. And if you notice, as she's going into this mixed belt, she's doing that vocal fry. Yeah, 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 yeah. She's, yeah. You can hear a little bit of the fry coming together, the vocal cords, and then approaching it. That gives it more strength and more power. And that's how she's able to stay as relaxed as she is because she's able to stretch out the vocal cords, put the minimum amount of air, and allow it to fly all the way forward, giving it that power. So as you hear her doing more of these belts, really listen to that kind of sound that comes right before she hits these notes, and that's her pulling the vocal cords together and then approaching the note, so that way it has more strength. So listen in for that.
Stuck with you, stuck with you, stuck with you.
Here's her air. High note. Love it, love it, love it. Click here for my free cheat sheet showing you how to sound like Ariana Grande. Click here for a video where I go over it in more detail. And come hang out with me in my Facebook group. The link is down below. I will see you in the next song. La la la!